So I left this comment on a video I recently watched, and that video I have tagged in the description. But I want to talk about having to consistently start over. Okay. When you have to consistently start over for generations to generations to generations, this leads you to being at the back burner. Okay, everyone doesn't have to consistently start over and over and over and over and over again. However, black people have. When I say black people, I mean, in this definition of black, I mean black people, black African people, and the African diaspora. It's a consistent state of having to start over, over. So in the comment, I put that yes, although the ethnic groups or the quote unquote tribes are old, they are living in a constant state of having to start over and over and over in several ways. So, for instance, the countries are new. Okay, the countries are fairly basically new. They came after the slave trade was over. Okay, they were all boarded up and situated. All right, so this is a even though the peoples of the land are old, they've been there, right? The countries are new, and when you have new countries, it takes a minute for things to gather themselves as they should be and strengthen themselves like a baby. Like it takes a minute for the baby to be able to crawl. Then it takes some more time for the baby to be able to walk and run and flip and do other things. Okay. So, like, it's unfair to compare anyone in the black African who is black African and of the black diaspora. It's truly unfair to compare it to a place or like Europe, for instance, right? And the European diaspora, right? And because their nations, their places, their groups have had the time to develop in a different way than others. You can even take just just this one country where I live. African Americans have had to consistently start over in every way. From the beginning of the slave trade, you had people leave the African continent, then go and start, not even start new, be in bondage here in the United States of America, then have their families split, have a baby taken, have babies taken, have families split all up so that the parent could not teach the baby. So the baby would go elsewhere and not learn anything from that parent. And then they would have to, and sometimes, spend their money, all of their hard earned dollars, getting free and then locating their family members just to get the family back together, because that was the most important thing they wanted to spend their money on, is getting their family back. And you would have to buy them. Okay. And then there was a constant state of killings and murders and burning whole communities down. You have to start again. This went all the way through the 1900s. Okay. One of the most famous is Black Wall Street. Burn it down, you got to start all over again. Money was taken. African American money was stolen. All of their money was stolen out of a bank, leaving them with nothing. When you burn down the homes, guess what happens? Their money gets burned down with it. Start all over. It's a constant state of starting over. Constant state of starting over. Meanwhile, the white people in America did not have a constant state of starting over. So they were able to build and build and build and build, which is why their wealth is here, from not only stealing, but also being able to pass down, because nobody was taking anything from them. The constant state of having to redo and rebuild and rebuild and rebuild and rebuild, that's afresh. That's that you have to look at it as, okay, they're just starting again. They're just starting again. That constant state of having to redo something over and over again means you should not compare different peoples, because they're not on the same ground as another. Okay, and that's why I hate the whole, when you go on online, or when you read anything, they say, well, um, in comparison to white people, don't compare my people to white people, because it's not a level comparison. In comparison to this, in comparison, no, don't do that. It's just like somebody's house being burned down, right? Take away insurance, take away everything. Somebody's house is being burned down, and the next person has a home that's never been burned down. Guess what? That person who had their house burned down is going to have to save up money and rebuild, meaning that the next generation is not going to be as wealthy. Okay? The person who had the asset to leave to their next generation isn't going to have to pay that bill. Okay? They have an asset. They can save more. They can do more. But see, the one whose house burnt down, they got to continue. I mean, if I can go back to Africa, when they took the most skilled and brought them here to build, correct, that left many places in Africa without the manpower. So then you have a situation where you have to give birth to more and wait. There's no coincidence that Africa has the youngest population on Earth. The dynamics of things were totally jacked up by the slave trade and by colonialism and all the, it's a start over. So even though, and it's unfair to even compare, you know, the continent of Africa to an older place, much older, when I say older, developed in as far as development place, such as Europe. Because no one went in there and turned over things century after century in Europe to make them start over. But that did happen in Africa. It did happen. They had, and it did happen, just like even in Haiti. Okay, they're not in the position they are, for nothing. They fought, and they fought hard, right? Everybody in the diaspora fought hard, but Haiti was the first, right? So they fought, and then France turned right back around and said, you gonna pay us, or we gonna kill y'all. So they had to pay them or get bombed up. Now they had to start over. It's very hard to keep starting over like that when you drained yourself. So even though places have been here and peoples have been in certain places, you have to remember that some places are just starting over fresh. And it's going to take a minute for them to get back to what they need to be, or get to where they need to be.